Does everybody know what time it is?
Home Impodcast time!
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam. You'll know my co-host, Jordan. Hey, Jordan.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I am good.
You know, I want to let, if you'll allow me, I want to let the audience in behind the scenes a little bit.
I feel like you do that more than you need to, but sure, go ahead.
Well, I feel like this is monumental because this is the podcast that almost wasn't. You texted me... You texted me about...
When you say that you are letting people behind the scenes, but really you're airing our dirty laundry.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But about 5 days ago, you texted me and said, you know what, I think we need a break. And a lot of things ran through my mind. I thought you were breaking up with me. I thought this is the beginning of the end of the podcast. And you just tried to reassure me that, you know, I think you were a little stale. Maybe you were just a little run down from the move and work and all that kind of stuff. So you wanted a week break. So I sat for 3 or 4 days in that feeling, wondering what was next, wondering if we'd ever record again, because that's how things happen. You know, you say you want a break, but then it turns into more. And you texted me, and you just couldn't go a week without actually talking to me. So you said, you know what, I don't need a break. Let's go ahead and record. And wow, it's quite the roller coaster of a week for me. So I just want to make sure the audience knows how precious and how fragile this podcast is.
All right, is it my turn to go?
Yeah, go ahead. You can take your side. I mean, there's two sides to every story.
Sure,
so.
Yeah. I agree with you with regards to the move kind of running me down a little bit. Yeah, I feel like we both have been kind of busy and under a lot of stress. You with your child, and we were just having trouble coordinating dates. And I felt like by the time we got to the episodes, I was always a little bit cranky. And, you know, maybe you were as well, and you might agree or disagree with that. And I just felt like the product maybe wasn't as good the last few weeks. But you know what? I myself did some soul searching. I'm going to, you know, I'm taking better care of my health, mental and physical.
That's good. And
I'm ready to put my best foot forward. And you know what? I may very well still quit the podcast. I may ask for a week off after this one. We may never record again. Yeah, we'll see. Don't get too comfortable. But I'm back, and this time it's personal.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's fragile. So just everyone enjoy every episode and pretend it's our last. I mean, yeah, I just wanted to let everyone in on that. So I'm
so glad that you did. Yeah.
Something else that I wanted to let people in on was this treasure trove of home improvement information that I found this week, and I sent you. And this was after you decided. If I would have sent this to you like a week ago, you'd been like, "Yeah, we're definitely recording tomorrow." But this was sent after that, and it's a fan fiction website dedicated solely to home improvement. So, you know, we had our own type of fan fiction with your home improvement reboot, and there's a lot of fans out there who are just taking to the internet, writing down stories, things that they've got in their heart and their minds about home improvement, and we've picked out 3 of them that are on this website. Shorter. There's some long ones on here.
There's one that's 26,000 words or something.
Yeah. So there's everything from just ideas to.
And I read it twice.
And you had lots of comments on it, I'm sure.
And it was written by me.
You know, we should put your thing up on here, I guess. I don't know how often people are contributing to this. I've got one that's from 2003, and then another from 2008. Yeah. So maybe it just needs a little bit of Home Impodcast flavor in there to really spruce it back up. So
yeah, we're not putting that up here. The thing about fan fiction is, and you know what, the one thing I associate with it was something I did come across where I feel like fan fiction, people write it so that characters that don't normally have sex with each other can. I think that is a staple of fan fiction. It definitely happens a
lot. Yeah, it definitely happens a lot. So, I mean...
And it happens in these.
Home Improvement is no different. These are certainly... I felt like when you wrote your reboot, you were trying to be a little bit more faithful to the show and how it's family-friendly and all that kind of stuff. Fanfiction.net, they had no qualms about going off the rails. So, we've got 3 stories, varied content, We picked shorter ones. It's funny that there's like reviews on these. I can't imagine what the reviews are. But do you want to go back and forth maybe, or?
Yeah, sure. I can start with Brotherly Rivals. And, we did run across one where Brad and Randy became intimate with each other, and we decided that just wasn't going to be good for our family-friendly podcast. It's definitely not on brand. No, it's out there if you want to find it. There's actually quite a few of them out there, which really makes you think about
life and
people in general, I guess. I don't know. All right, so this one's called Brotherly Rivals. It was originally published July 6, 2008 by Adorably Nikki. So, I don't know. It's Adorably Nikki, someone. All right, here we go. Premise. Randy Taylor is smartest. I'm going to read them as they're written.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quotes. Yep.
Yeah. Randy Taylor is smartest one of the Taylor boys, except when it comes to girls. Samantha McKenzie moved in next door. They practically share a backyard, and upon meeting Sam, developed a serious crush on him. When she meets her new friend's family, Randy's older brother Brad gets a crush on her. When Randy finally gets a clue about Sam's feeling, her crush has moved to Brad. Now Randy and Brad are up against each other for the girl they both like. Both are brotherly rivals. That's it.
All right. Maybe, I mean, we know that Home Improvement has kind of an international audience, so maybe English as a second language there. Some confusion.
I don't think so.
First thing that makes me not believe this could ever be an episode is that Samantha McKenzie is not a Home Improvement name. It's just, it doesn't stand out. It's not flashy enough.
Samantha McKenzie. Yeah,
it doesn't go with Tino and Forche and all those other names that we have.
It's very all-American.
Yeah.
Like it's someone trying to... Maybe this is an ESL thing, because it is someone trying to... It's like Dick Smith, like just very boilerplate. I could see this kind of plot line happening on Home Improvement. Sure. I don't know about... Wilson lives next door, and as far as I know, there's not a house on the other side of the Taylor, so I don't know where she's going to live exactly, but...
Maybe she's the McGurn sister.
Samantha McGurn.
Now it's really, really trouble, because you got the Vinny is going to be mad or whatever, and that's going to be.
Do you
think
we should add on to this? Like, is there a way to continue on? Just keep typing and add this McGurn twist.
I think we absolutely should rewrite this. It says, on the summary here, it says Chapter 1 coming soon. I didn't look for Chapter 1, so maybe she's already done that. Adorably Nikki most audibly listens to the podcast, so maybe she'll just write in. Any
suggestions are welcome, and feedback is definitely welcomed. Well, hey, look no further, because you're getting your feedback right here.
That's what we're here for. All right. Out of the three, this is probably the most believable. How about that?
Yeah, it's fairly believable. Poorly written, but pretty believable.
All right. Cool. I like it. All right. Second one. This one's a tiny bit longer, labeled Heidi Ho by William.
A tiny bit raunchier as well.
Yeah. There's kind of a shorter summary, but we're not interested in that. So this December 10th, 2003, this one's set post-show, whereas the one that you just read is set kind of in the run somewhere. Mm-hmm. So, all right, so words could not describe the feelings Wilson had when he spotted the Taylor family coming down the street. It had been 2 years since they left for Indiana, and things have not seemed the same since then. As they approached their eccentric, hat-wearing former neighbor, they expected a hearty greeting, but all they got was a simple, "It's nice to see you again," from Wilson. Tim looked around in confusion and asked, "Where's the old greeting you used to give? Heidi ho." With that, Wilson cringed in disgust. He brought the Taylor family inside the house and began the dissertation as to what happened since they left. As they walked into Wilson's house, a bowl of dark brown food was sitting on the side of the table. Jill just popped out a guess. "Let's see, would this be chocolate-covered ants?" Wilson shook his head no. No, it's Cocoa Puffs, the cereal. Brad gave a quizzical look and said, "Well, he's coming around slowly." Sorry. The six people sat down at the table and began to reminisce about the good old days until Tim decided to bring up the question that made Wilson tremble outside.
Outside?
I've never heard that phrase. He looked at... This is where it gets good. He looked at Wilson. "So why didn't you say..." Wilson stopped him mid-sentence and said, "You see, Tim, I don't say that anymore because, well, she is." The 5 members of the Taylor family had different reactions to that. Brad, Randy, and Mark were not quite sure if they understood, but they guessed in their minds, while Tim stared into space and obviously didn't get it at all. It was Jill that grasped the meaning of Wilson's statement right away. She slapped Tim on the shoulder while yelling out, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Wilson nodded in agreement with the Taylor Lass assumption.
So this
there's a little bit under the So I'll just read the summary if you didn't quite get it.
Sure.
It says, after Tool Time was canceled, Heidi had trouble finding a real job. She got divorced and had 2 kids, so in order to make enough money, she sells her body on the streets of Detroit. When Tim and Jill spot her, what will she do or say? Heidi ho.
I mean, I don't... what do you even say? It's... this is fan... I mean, this is fan fiction through and through.
This is fan fiction right here.
For better or worse, yeah. It's I don't think currently we would view prostitution as being so damning necessarily, but 2003 were less woke times. I like the Cocoa Puff dark chocolate ants thing. It's just really weird. It's just like it doesn't really belong in here. Like you try to get to a point, and they just kind of add that detail. It's world building, I guess.
Trying to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, I like Brad's quizzical look because I don't know that's a.
And he's coming around slowly. You know the crowd would have laughed at that. You could just hear the audience laughing.
Wilson cringing in disgust at just hearing Heidi Ho is interesting. Just man, that really. Because Wilson and Heidi don't really have a close relationship.
Not yet. Not that we've seen.
Not that we've seen. Yeah, it's interesting. It's something.
It's got 2 faves, so that's good.
Yeah, 11 reviews. I'd like to see these reviews. I don't know. I'm not going to click around on this website. This is another Home Impodcast virus site.
Exclusive. All right, we'll make sure to share it with everyone, though.
Sure. Yeah, people love it.
Yeah, we love giving people viruses. All right, last story here.
Yeah, it's less a story, Jordan, as it is I guess it's just like adding lyrics to the Home Improvement theme song. So this was written by Styrofoam.
Like actual styrofoam?
I mean, it's hard to say. June 6th, year unknown. It's categorized as parody or poetry. I would say it's not poetry. So these lyrics were inspired by the seasons 1 through 4 opening grungy early 90s blues and rock theme. And if you don't mind, I think I will kind of try to sing this.
Go for it, man.
Okay. Well, walking disaster, it's more power you're after. You keep with an engine that's ready to explode. Lucky pennies in your breakers to fix a spotlight in your happy, broken home. But tell me, what's it worth walking nowhere for hours, still looking for the power, but you did feel a damn thing when you stubbed your toes. Lucky pennies in your breakers fix the spotlight in your broken home. But tell me, what's it worth in the darkness for hours, searching for more power? You keep flicking at the switch of a bulb that's been blown. Lucky pennies in your breakers to fix the spotlight in your broken home. But tell me, what's it worth? You keep searching in the mirror and talking to the white noise. But when you spoke to your reflection, you got lost inside your old television show. Lucky pennies in the breakers fix a spotlight in your broken home. But tell me, what's it worth?
Well, indeed.
Yeah, man, I didn't even pause.
No, it's a wonder that we didn't become M. Slay and D. Swizz based on that rap right there. It reminds me a little bit of when we used to do bits of wisdom, and you just kind of didn't know what to say after you would read some quotes.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel now, speechless a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a bluegrass rap, or at least that's kind of how I took it. I think it's kind of good actually. I could do without the F-bombs. I don't think that really fits into a theme song, but other than that, I think it works.
Yeah, it's hard to play that on the ABC Family Friendly show.
Wouldn't that be kind of hard? I don't know.
I've always wondered if I'm stuck inside my television. So.
And I don't know if you notice how he spelled it. It's like television.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah. It's interesting.
It's got to go to the song, so it's got to be pronounced that way. Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, those are 3 treasures among many, many, many on fanfiction.net/TV/Home Improvement. So,
indeed,
we'll make sure to share that. Let us know if you have any of your own fan fiction. We'd love to read that on the air as well. But with that, I think we should actually get into a real episode that was written of Home Improvement. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
All right, this episode 110, Doctor in the House, was written by Bruce Ferber and Lloyd Garver. They last did A Taylor Runs Through It, which I think was the first episode of this season. one where we just had a great old time in Traverse City. So they're back at it again with this one. Aired on November 28th, 1995. So I turned 6. I sat down in front of the TV just like your family did. And I watched this episode of Home Improvement. With that, we can move on to alternative titles.
Let's do it.
All right. I've got 4 this time. And I definitely have a theme in mind.
I have 5.
You always outdo me. You're always one-upping me.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. I'll start. Okay, you'll like this one. PH me?
I do like that. I'll start mine. I have one that's kind of like this. It's for my TARDIS friends.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who?
Okay, I didn't know what TARDIS was, but now I get it.
Okay.
All right. TARDIS, huh? What is TARDIS? Is that what is that?
It's his like traveling time machine phone booth thing.
Oh, has a name.
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay.
You'll see a lot of bumper stickers that say like my other car is a TARDIS or something like that.
Oh, I'll keep my eyes peeled for those, big man. All right.
They're down here a lot.
All right, I'll keep my eyes peeled for them, big man. All right, here we go. Number 2.
Big man.
Dr. Detroit.
All right. Not bad.
It's a movie with Dan Aykroyd as well. I've never seen it. But,
oh, okay. Yeah. I've never heard of it. How about Dr. Didlittle?
That's a good one. That's really good. All right. Here's a bad one. Dart Fun. That's why I have 5 always, because I always have one like that. So don't feel bad.
Oh man, that's terrible. All right, I shouldn't say that because I have a bad one coming up. How about the Toyminator?
Oh yeah, okay. I think they're pretty good.
All right.
Here's a singing one. I've done enough singing today, frankly, but it's a different.
but it's too late now.
I need a doctor. Give me a doctor to bring me back to life. It's a long one.
Also very melancholy.
Yeah.
All right, my last one. The Island of Dr. Timbo.
That's good. You had it going. All right, here's my last one.
I thought those doctor ones. I like the doctor ones.
I couldn't do as much. All right, this is my favorite one. It doesn't really make sense, but magna cum laude.
I can see why you like it.
Yeah. All right, good.
Oh man,
good showing.
That's a good addition. The good addition. I think you challenged me to really step my game up this week. So
yeah, I mean, every time I threaten to quit, it probably forces you to put in that much more effort.
I took my daughter for a walk this morning after I watched the episode for the first time, and I just spent that 30 minutes thinking of alternative titles. So turns out when you spend 30 minutes thinking about them, you'll figure some out.
I agree. She can't talk yet, so you gotta fill something.
Yeah, she was busy playing with like a little toy lion, so
makes sense.
All right, episode walkthrough time. We're gonna open on tool time, and they've got the telescopic ladder. This is a ladder that is pretty tall that kind of compacts down into like a 2-foot high thing, and this is probably the first thing that they've had on tool time that I've ever actually thought would be useful for me to own. Yeah. So it seems helpful. It doesn't take up much space. I mean, we live in a townhouse that has 2 floors. I have to put up like hurricane shutters on the 2nd floor. Ladders are helpful.
Yeah.
But you know what Tim does with it?
What?
You're right.
Are you asking me, or like I don't know? Is it rhetorical? What does he do, Jordan?
I like that you answered.
I mean, I didn't know.
For some reason, they put him up on like a half wall, and of course, it goes toppling over, and he falls over.
It's a pretty good stunt, though. I mean, I don't think he did it, but whoever did it, somebody took that fall, and it's pretty serious business.
I hope they had a mattress of some sort down there. Otherwise, somebody's got a broken
Speaking
face.
of mattress, enter promo code Home Impodcast at Casper.com for $50 off this month. No, just
I wish.
Kidding. Yeah, seriously. I just bought a Casper mattress.
Wow, you'll have to tell me what it's like.
I will. They're gonna ship it in a How Did They Do That box, or is that Lisa mattress? I don't know. They're going to ship it in a small box, so that'll be cool.
It's gonna be mesmerizing when you open it.
Yeah.
All right, back to the show. There's lots of friendly ribbing in this opening Tool Time segment, just like us, really. And Al is really getting the better of Tim, I would say, until this letter arrives, because it is time for the mailbag, and so they bring that out. And there's a first letter that's about how much money should I spend on tools, and of course Tim says, like, spend all that you want, whatever. That's not what we care about, really. The second letter is a letter from your alma mater, Western Michigan, right. And they are going to give Tim an honorary doctorate. And Al is dumbfounded. I imagine the crowd kind of thinks this is a joke, but it's not. And that's going to be what happens in the show, basically. I was thinking, as they opened this letter, how long has this letter been in the mailbag? And, like, if they didn't open it in time, would he miss out on this year's graduation ceremony? Or I guess what we don't know is how often do they do the mailbag every week, or how often is the mailbag an occurrence? Because I think that would maybe help answer your question. And you see that bag has a ton of letters in it, and they only answer like two at a time.
Then later on, it only has like two. So right. I don't know.
I've got a lot of questions.
I'm not sure. Sorry, man. Home. Jill's giving away toys to charity. My question is, when they say charity, do they mean just like Goodwill Salvation Army, or what is it? What is this charity they're talking about?
I mean, there could be Toy for Tots type of thing going on. I don't know.
I don't. They just kept saying charity, and I thought, like, well, is that because they can't say Goodwill or Salvation Army? Or
they already did the Habitat for Humanity stuff, so they can't do that again.
True. Yeah, well, whatever. Mark is, he's sad. The other boys don't care as much until they realize what's in the box. What's in the box? Randy, well, first Brad is upset to find out that his gas master whoopee cushion is being tossed out, and then Randy finds an old dart gun, and he's upset that that's getting tossed out. He shoots the dart gun kind of into the garage area, and it connects with Tim's chin, so when he enters, Tim has a dart on his chin. Pretty funny.
No way that dart would stick to your face.
No, I don't. Good luck getting them sticking to windows. Even, I mean, like half the time, I had a gun like that too. And if you're standing like a foot away from a window, maybe it'll stick, but they don't have that much power.
I gotta say, I don't think I had a dart gun, but a whoopee cushion played a prominent role in our childhood growing up. I remember.
Really?
I just remember there being a whoopee cushion around every once in a while, and then it would suddenly disappear because my mom never approved of a whoopee cushion. Like, she hated the fart noise for some reason.
Yeah, I bet that.
Yeah, and I'm sure we tried to get her more than anyone else, so she probably didn't like that either. And then I feel like there was a time in high school when somebody in our friend group got one of those electronic fart machines or whatever, and they had a really good time with that. Probably got it confiscated.
There's like a famous story where like Leslie Nielsen, the actor, really liked the fart machines, and he used to like take it to sets all the time and just like do it while people were acting. And I don't know, he was like 70 years old, and I've heard that from a couple different sources. So at this point, I think we can believe that it's true.
Wait, when you say sources, do you have like inside Hollywood people telling you Leslie Nielsen stories, or what?
If I wanted to say their names, I would have said them. That's all I'll say.
Oh, all right. But, Adam, what were some of the biggest childhood toys that you had?
Oh man,
you said the dart gun.
Yeah, I did have a dart gun. I can remember like specific toys. I played with wrestlers a lot, like a fake wrestling mat and like wrestlers. That was fun. I remember.
Explains why you're so aggressive now.
Oh man, yeah, I know. Just totally macho guy. I had a set of like Hess trucks that my grandfather gave me. I remember those, and I was like always really into like the Universal monsters. So I had like a big Frankenstein I used to play with as well. So yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. And you never shared any of those things with me.
Well, I stopped playing with them when I was probably 10, 11, 12. So by the time we coincided, I was 16 going on 17, so there really wasn't any reason.
I still would have liked to play with that those wrestling toys.
I wish I still had it. I know there's a lot of stuff that you get rid of when you're young, toys like that, and you kind of wish you still had it, but I don't know. As you move, it's harder to be so precious about things.
Yeah, you bring that all the way with you to go to NIU with your wrestling mat.
I know. My dad like has like a bunch of like bins of ours in they're in their shed up there at Houghton Lake. And like every time he visits me, he's like, "Hey, do you want me to bring down some of your old boxes or what?" And it's like, no, I don't want to store my own stuff. Like, why can't you just keep it up there? But every time they're about to come down, he said, "Should I bring those boxes down of your mementos? You want to keep those with you? I mean, eventually you're going to want those." And it's like, no, you keep them for now.
You're really burdening your parents with your mementos.
It's like 2 boxes in a shed that's full of other people's shit. Like, give me a break.
Oh, man. I remember, I mean, I had some stuffed, I think we've talked about this before, I had some stuffed animals that we would perform wrestling moves on, but they weren't like little wrestlers.
It's not the only thing you did to them.
There was a lot of Pokemon paraphernalia. There was a lot of sports. I mean, Little Tykes hoop all the time. Like, all the time. Inside, outside, in the basement, whenever. And I think we had, like, this castle with, like, little knights that I really liked. And that I think was a very famous 90s toy. So, some of my favorites, I'd say.
Weren't the 90s the best?
They were. I love the 90s.
All right, back to it.
Sorry to take you off track.
Hey, no, it's all right. Tim comes in. He finds a set of glasses with like the spring-loaded eyeballs, and he puts those on. And as he has them on, he reveals that he's been honored with this PhD, and nobody really believes it. Eventually, Jill comes in. Brad shoots the dart gun, and it hits her right in her breast. It's an interesting gag. She takes it down and comes in, and Tim tells Jill about the PhD, and she doesn't believe it either, but then she reads the letter, and she's kind of immediately cranky, and I gotta say, I get it. I'd be frustrated, too.
Yeah, and she's kind of had a rough day to begin with. She's talking about how, like, there's this
She's always having rough days, though, you know? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I were her, too, and how tough it's been to get my PhD, I'd be real mad at Tim as well. So, yeah, she's shocked and mad, and that's kind of the end of that scene. That's where she leaves it.
I mean, I kind of think honorary PhDs are sort of bogus, but I don't feel like anybody holds them in a high enough esteem, you know? So it's like, it's really just a title, but I guess.
I'll tell you what, this episode taught me a lot about the history of that practice, because I didn't really understand it, and I've never really thought about it, but I definitely didn't understand it until I did a little bit of research after watching this episode, so.
I agree. I too did not really. I thought it was always just, well, I knew it was press related, but I didn't think about the monetary aspects. But we'll get there.
We will get there.
We're putting the cart before the horse. Carry on.
That's something I never do. So later at home, Jill is studying. She's got all this work to do, and Tim is kind of just like hammering stuff into the wall. And it turns out he's hammering his achievements. He's got the envelope and the letter there, and he's framed them already and put them on the wall. He's really leaning into his achievement here. Tim is starting to rub it in as well. And like the phone rings, he answers it as Dr. Taylor, and then some flowers arrive for Dr. Taylor, and the delivery guy asks him a medical question, and he gives an answer, and all this stuff is rubbing Jill the wrong way. And what rubs her really the wrong way is the flowers are not from the one and only the Colonel and her wife, and I could have.
Hey Taylor, congratulations on your PhD.
They couldn't get him to call for this.
He's busy,
do like a
man.
split screen like they did in the last episode.
No, man, he's in a movie or something. He's too busy. He's done. Done.
Not only did they send the flowers, they wrote "Dear Son" instead of "Hey You," and I was wondering, how did they hear about this?
Fair question. Also, I don't really buy that the Colonel would be impressed by this. Not the Colonel I know. Hashtag not my Colonel.
Not my Colonel.
I know. I mean, he would know. The Colonel's a smart guy. He would know that it's meaningless.
I guess so. Maybe it's the Colonel's wife that did it.
Yeah, she could have signed his name, I guess. I don't know.
Perhaps.
All right. What do we got next, Jordan?
The Colonel doesn't let people sign his name. Tim tries to explain like why he gets this honor. He talks about he's bridging the gap between hardware and entertainment. It's a lot of fluff. Jill does not like it, and she needs to go outside at this point because she needs to take out the trash, but she also needs to vent a little bit. Luckily, Wilson is out there, and they're about to have a conversation that I think we all want to hear.
Yeah, I do want to hear it, Jordan. Go ahead and play a clip.
Hey, Wilson.
Well, hi-ho, fairest of tailors.
Jill, what time do you have?
8:33.
My new sundial seems to be running a bit slow.
Maybe you should noodle with your gnomon.
I beg your pardon?
The gnomon, it's that crossbar there. It should be pointing north.
Whoa, well, thank you, Jill. It is such a pleasure having a knowledgeable neighborette.
Well, I may be knowledgeable, but Tim's the one getting the PhD.
Oh. Knowledgeable and funny.
I'm not kidding. Didn't Tim tell you?
No?
Western Michigan is giving Tim an honorary doctorate.
Tim?
Yeah. I mean, here I am killing myself to get an advanced degree. They just handed one. I'm trying not to be. I just can't.
Well, Jill. I've never been a proponent of these symbolic gestures, but Tim is your husband.
I know.
He is my neighbor. We should be happy.
You're right.
A PhD? Tim? Oh, Jill. Do you realize how many hours I had to study to get my doctorate in forgotten languages and extinct cultures? Oh, my. Sitting in that library reading that insufferable microfilm till I thought I would practically go blind? Not to mention that to support myself, I had to volunteer as a subject for lab experiments. And the thing that really irritates me about this whole thing... Oh, Jill, talk me down.
I came out here so you talk me down.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jill. I just lost control.
I know, it's okay.
Well, what can I say here that might put this into perspective for both of us? Oh, yes. The late Senator Dwight Morrow said there are people who do things and people who take the credit, and the trick is to be in the first group. There's a lot less competition.
I see what you're saying.
Does that make you feel any better?
Not at all.
Me neither. On the other hand, it is a great honor for Tim, and I guess we have to put our negative feelings aside and just find a way to cheer him on.
Well, I know. He should be allowed to enjoy this. I should be more supportive.
Mm-hmm. And if the university is giving him a PhD, they must feel he is a worthy recipient.
Obviously, they know something we don't.
So, Jordan, Wilson's working with a sundial.
Boy, is he.
And he's having some difficulty getting it set up. Jill knows the name of a certain part of this sundial. I don't know how or why, but I guess this is just establishing that she is smart. And we knew that, so it's in keeping with that. She tells Wilson about Tim's PhD. Wilson, at first, kind of laughs it off, doesn't believe it, but she tells him that it is in fact truth, and he, like Jill, is quite frustrated by it because he has his own PhD and he remembers the labor that was put in, and they try to console each other by he gives some specific reason. I don't necessarily recall what it was. But they can't really take comfort in it. It's just difficult for them to sort of accept the fact that their hard work is, Tim is not going to have to work hard for his PhD like they did. And eventually the camera cuts in and it's like, well, maybe they know something about Tim that we don't. And he's jumping on a pogo stick, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, that pogo stick was in that donate box, so he must have gotten it out.
I thought it was a scooter at first.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not a scooter. I think the quote that you were talking about was, there are people who do things and there are people who take credit. Be in the first camp, and there's less competition. But it is tough. They both feel a little bit slighted. I like Wilson going off here. I think it's really funny.
Also, that's not really what is happening here, that quote, though. Like, Tim is not taking credit. Is he? Is that...
he's kind of like... He's kind of like... I don't know. He's taking it in stride and like really proud of himself and all this kind of stuff. And
I guess
I don't know. I guess he's not taking it in stride. He's really excited. So, but they move on to tool time. They bring on the Verminator, and that's Dale. I believe his name is Dale. He got interested in terminating because he loved animals, which I thought was a funny line as well, and they just kind of let that linger there. Mm-hmm. And then they go to show off some rodent traps.
Jordan. Hold your horses.
Sorry, did I get a little excited?
Well, he went to Ratcliffe.
Oh, sorry.
No, he didn't go to Ratcliffe. He went to another school.
No, he played Ratcliffe.
He played Ratcliffe in football. No, I do have a bio on this
guy. What position do you think Dale plays?
He's a D-end like I was. Dale is played by Jim Beaver, who is in a lot of good stuff. 142 credits to his name. He was a regular in Deadwood. He had a bit in Breaking Bad. He's in the film Crimson Peak. 65 episodes of Supernatural. He's in The Ranch, the Ashton Kutcher Netflix show. Lots of TV appearances, some film. Justified, that's a show I like. But this guy, he often plays like gruff kind of Western types. So. Well,
he is not a gruff Western type here.
No.
Unless you're talking about, like, I don't know, saddling up some mice. I don't know.
Nope, not talking about that.
But I don't know. He's got glue traps. He's got snap traps. I think we know where this is going to go. And Tim gets his hand stuck in like 3 different traps at the same time. And then they have a really funny laughing rat transition. I don't know if you caught that.
I did it. I mean, I hate mice. I'm very much afraid of mice and rats, so I was not real comfortable with this scene. I was glad we didn't have to see a real one, but that graphic was scary enough for me.
It was terrifying. Adam, I'm wondering with this next scene, it's probably got a lot of good memories for you. I don't know if you want to take it or not and just just relive some memories that you no doubt look fondly upon.
Yeah, definitely. So they're in Sangren Hall. They've referenced Sangren before. It is in fact a real place. I had a lot of classes there at Western. And in this scene, they actually do have the Western Michigan University seal, the actual one on the wall. So that was a nice little touch. But actually, the building they're in looks like Sangren. I know they weren't in there, but Sangren was pretty crappy and dated and brown looking. So they did a good job emulating that. So they all arrive. The boys look dapper in their suits, and
they wear suit. They must have more suits than I ever had. I don't think I wore suits ever when I was a kid.
It's funny, yeah, me neither. But also they have suits that fit really well. Like I feel like when I first started wearing suits, like they were always like way too big, like baggy sports coats and stuff. But like no, they're
Jill's not going to let that happen.
For lack of a better word, they are tailored to fit.
Hey,
that's like your rodeo mice joke earlier. That was the second best thing we've said.
Rodeo mice, that was my alternative title.
Dr. Garber comes up, and Tim doesn't remember him, but he remembers Tim. And there's a lot of jokes about Tim just kind of slacking off in school. I think, therefore, I am kind of stuff. And, you know, I don't know. I was going to do a bio of Professor Garver, but I don't really feel like I need to, unless you really want me.
You've kind of soured on Dr. Garver.
I mean, I can. Do you want to know more about him?
No, not really.
All right. Well, I can tell you his name is Walter Addison, so if you're interested, just quick Google search. You'll find out all you need to know about that guy.
I'd rather learn a little bit more about the woman speaker, maybe.
Okay, interesting. All right. Well, he leaves, and then another woman comes up, and her name is Barbara Burton, and she's the head of the fundraising committee, and she is perhaps the most candid person I've ever seen depicted in film. She's very honest to a fault.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
She basically says, like, she breaks it down, you know, like how the only reason they gave Tim the PhD was, and it's not, I mean, I get what they're getting at. It doesn't necessarily make sense, but they gave him the PhD because he is big with construction companies, and they're going to somehow monetize that, and it's going to help them build new buildings on campus. And they keep throwing around the C word, and by that I mean celebrity. That Tim is such a celebrity that he's.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. They're going to bring in. He's going to bring in a lot of money for the school. They wanted to give it to a poet, but you know he's just not. He's not going to be able to. There's no money in poetry. So Tim feels bad. He feels like kind of an idiot. And a bit embarrassed. Am I right in their plan? Like they're just what is the construction aspect of it? I wasn't quite clear on that.
They want him to solicit donations from these companies because he has such good relationships with, I guess, the K&B boys. I don't know where he's going to get it from.
Yeah,
but
true.
Harry's Hardware and K&B Boys.
Yeah.
We know Al's a stickler for money, so I don't think that's necessarily going to work out. But yeah, it's very sad for Tim. He does feel horrible, like you say, and Jill does come to his defense and tries to bolster him a little bit. Says you have a great show, and you got that job because of your hard work in engineering and all that kind of stuff. And then Jill apologizes for how she's kind of acted the whole episode and being bitter and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I did some research. This was on IMDb, but I Googled it first to see. I assumed that Tim Allen actually did have an honorary PhD, right. And he did get one in 1998. And I found a website from Western that I found the same one. Yeah, it was funny. That was right before my sister went there. But I don't know if you went to the bottom of the article, but it was if you want to hear excerpts of Mr. Allen's speech, dial this number and press 2, and you could hear his speech. And it's just man, technology. Things become antiquated really quickly. I don't even remember that being a thing. Dial a number and then you can hear clips from a speech that someone recorded. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, I've definitely never heard of that. But did you call the number?
No, I didn't. I should though.
Well, missed opportunity.
Maybe should we do it live? The show. We'll do it live. All right. So Tim's about ready to give his speech, and he's playing with his tassel a lot and getting some good physical comedy out of that. The Dean Cummings, who introduces him, even as she introduces him, she kind of laughs. She's like, Tim the tool, she's laughing as she says his name, and it's man, you guys are. I think you don't know how to roll out the red carpet at all.
I thought she was laughing at herself for introducing, because she's supposed to be playing the Heidi role right there. So maybe she just never thought she'd be in that moment. I took it a different way than you.
Okay, I thought she was laughing because Tim is such a.
I hope not.
I hope
that'd be really sad.
That'd be really rude. Tim comes up and he gives a pretty nice heartfelt speech. My father told me it was good to have tools in my hand because it keeps me out of trouble, etc., etc. And then I don't necessarily know what happens here. Is it that he drops his? Yeah, go ahead.
He wants to do a cheers with his glass of water, and he spills it all over the electrical equipment there, and then the woman who introduced him comes up and grabs a hold of the microphone and he gets electrocuted.
I saw her get shocked. I didn't see the waterfall. But yeah, I mean,
there's a waterfall in the background.
The waterfall, the water, fall.
I know. I'm just messing.
Don't go chasing waterfalls, all right?
That's one thing I think we all learned from this episode.
Listen to the rivers and the streams like you used to. And then that's the final scene there. She gets shocked. He says that, actually it kind of feels good when you get shocked. And I'm thinking, whoa.
Hey, that's not the final scene.
No. There is one more. And it's really good. I'll let you take it.
Back on Tool Time, they've got the mailbag out. And there's only 2 letters in there. You mentioned that earlier. And one is from Todd from Toledo. And immediately he wrote in, why not Al? Why isn't Al getting the honorary degree? To which the crowd agrees a little bit. And it starts saying he's a hard worker, and Todd's handwriting gets a little muddled, and somehow Al knows exactly what it says, and so that's the clue right there that Al wrote it himself, and it turns out he wrote that in another letter, and he's very bitter as well. So Jill overcame her bitterness, but Al not so much.
Got that right, buddy. Roll credits, fade to black. Doctor in the house?
Doctor in the house? Dr. Didlittle?
Pretty good.
Let's have a nickel for your thoughts, Adam.
Okay. Boy, this is interesting. I hadn't really considered whether I liked this one or not. Well, I guess I'll just work it out on air.
Yeah, here we go.
Highs. It's a good idea for an episode. I think it's a premise they haven't done before.
Agreed.
It's clever to have Jill, who's working on a PhD, kind of juxtaposed to Tim just being handed one. I think that's a good idea. So I like the idea. There's a couple good lines here and there. The Wilson scene where he gets frustrated is funny. Lows, not much else for other people to do. Tool time is more like drool time. The boys, they have that scene with their toys. Jill is frustrated. Boys with toys. Drool time. Jill's just kind of chilling. So it's pretty, it's sticking to the Tim storyline, which I guess I like. So ultimately, I suppose I like this episode. It's slightly better than average for me.
Yeah, I agree with about what you just said. The only thing I would say, in addition to a low, is I find it a little hard to believe that he would get an honorary degree for what he's doing, but
yeah.
They keep saying he's a celebrity in this episode and in previous episodes, so I guess I have to suspend my sense of belief here. But yeah, I think my favorite part of this whole episode is the Wilson scene when he starts going off. I mean, we just never really see Wilson like that, and I think Carol Hinman played it really well. So it's a good episode, it's unique, and it allowed me to do some extra research and figure out that Kermit the Frog has an honorary PhD, which I'm grateful to find out.
Yeah, It just really shows you how... I don't know.
Who do you think earned
serious
it?
They take those things. I mean, I guess Kermit. Kermit is probably more deserving, if we're being honest.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so, but don't tell Tim that because we'll never get him on the show.
No, I won't. I promise.
The real Tim Allen deserves some. So,
yeah. It makes sense that Tim Allen, the actor, would get an honorary PhD, but not Tim Taylor, the public access low-rated host.
Does Patricia Richardson have one? Does Richard Karn have one? And if not, we got to make that happen, right?
That's a fair question. Let me get back to you on that.
All right, sounds good. All right, with that, while you're trying to figure all that stuff out, let's go to Sean's social media corner. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can do so at thehomeimpodcast.com. We're on Twitter at Home Impodcast, Facebook.com/Home Impodcast, everywhere.com/Home Impodcast.
We're taking over the world!
That's right. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/Home Impodcast. As always, we really, really appreciate reviews on iTunes. So if you haven't done so yet, we'd love for you to do that, and we'll read that on air. Even if it's 1 star, we might read it a little bit more scathingly, but we'll read it. And with that, Adam, why don't you tell everybody what kind of polls you've been doing on Twitter and some of the great things going on there?
All right, 2 polls this week to cover. First one, related to Halloween. Did you have a scary basement? 22 total votes on this one. That's how you know we've made it.
You never know how many votes you're going to get from this stuff.
59% said no, 71% said yes, and one woman at Stowy33, Stephanie, she sent a picture because there's a place in the dirt wall that has a hard cement block that says Mother across it in her basement. She sent a picture of it, and sure enough, it does just say Mother. It's almost like a little grave in her basement. So that's pretty scary.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, no, I'd move.
Wow. It's almost like a morgue. Do you think behind that stone or whatever is a body?
Morgan Mindy. Next poll. Favorite major U.S. city.
Next poll.
23 votes. 4% said Chicago. Jeez. Probably because Home Improvement keeps saying there's roaches in there. 22% say Los Angeles. 35% say something else. 39% say the Big Apple, baby. That's New York City. And I believe one person, aka one of your brothers, said that they would vote for Atlanta.
A very biased vote for Atlanta. Yeah, my brother lived there for 5-6 years, so good city as well. Nobody else wrote in. I would wonder what some of these other cities are, but I guess we'll never know.
Atlanta. Is there a difference between Atlanta and Hotlanta? Or are they the same thing?
When Atlanta's feeling really swaggerific, it turns into Hotlanta.
Okay. Always wondered.
That's how it works.
Other than that, not much going on Twitter. Follow us. Be a part of the revolution.
Revolution. Okay. Absolutely. And with that, Adam, it is time for the question of the week. I won't even try to bore our audience with some from me, so I guess it's your turn.
Mm-hmm. Jordan.
Oh, yeah. You're talking to me.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I fell asleep in that time you were trying to think of a question.
It was only a minute.
I tell you what, when you have a baby, you'll take any minute you can get.
You know what? I've heard that people say that before. Having a baby, it sure is rewarding, but it's also very tiring.
Hey, cliche. All right, go ahead.
So Tim, he gets an honorary PhD. It got me thinking about college and career paths and things of that nature. So I want to ask you, Jordan, if you were to have a job in a completely different field than you're in right now, so the field you're in right now, would you categorize it as marketing or where are you at right now?
Yeah, okay. I would say SEO is probably a part of marketing. So.
Okay, all right. So you had to pick a job that was different and in a different kind of total we'll say, avenue than your current job, what would you be doing?
It's a great question. I've got lots of things I'm passionate about.
Pick one, then really go in deep.
Yeah, really deep. There's a couple that come to mind that I toyed with in college. I took like an epidemiology and health few classes and specializations before I ended up getting out of that. And I've never really had problems with like blood or any of that kind of stuff, gruesome stuff. So I thought about going into the medical field, but I don't think I would have the patience to go through that much schooling. Like that's so much. So the other thing I guess would be writing, which I do a tiny bit on the side, and I had a college professor who really wanted me to at least add business writing to my degree, and I never really took him up on that for some reason, but now I find that I really enjoy writing, so I guess I would go down that path and explore it even deeper and whatever that would have led me to. I know it's not a money-making path for a lot of people, so that would have been tough, but it is something I enjoy. Adam? I'm surprised you'd go into anything because you're just living your best life right now, but
is this my best life? Huh, interesting. Well, right now I was just it's kind of hard because I was just teaching for like 5 or so years, and now I'm in marketing, but basically we're just a couple of marketers, really. Yeah, I'm essentially I'm copywriting right now more than marketing, but there's some marketing as well. So I'm going to try to choose something that's kind of completely out of that realm. I guess I would probably say law. And I know that everybody's like, when I used to sub, or even like in high school, people would be like, I want to be a lawyer because I really like to argue, or I'm really good at arguing. It's not necessarily true for me, but I don't know. I feel like it kind of combines things that I'm maybe strong at: writing, researching, public speaking, things like that. So I think it kind of, I like studying things and learning things, and that's a lot of like law school, as far as I know, at least from what I've seen on TV. So I'd probably have gone that route if I was doing something completely different. So,
we've done 110 episodes plus some others, and we've asked 110 questions of the week. And there's still just so much that we can learn about each other. It's an amazing segment for me.
It's yeah, I think the audience probably doesn't get as much out of it, but one for them, one for us.
Yeah, we do the whole 50 minutes for them, I guess, right?
Jordan, what are we covering next week?
Next week, I almost, actually, before we even get to that, I kind of wanted to announce on air. You kind of put it up to me what our next bonus Patreon episode was going to be. Yeah. So, for the audience, if you donate $5 or more a month to our Patreon account, we do a special bonus episode each month. That's not even really related to Home Improvement, although the first couple have been kind of. We did For Richer or Poorer, the movie, and then we did The Return of Last Man Standing. This one we're really going to just depart from everything Home Improvement and just kind of do, another one for us, I guess you could say. And you gave me the choice between Back to School, the Rodney Dangerfield film, or Rush Hour. Film and twins. I thought you were going to let me get through that one. Little did I know. All right, so we've got Back to School or Rush Hour. And I'm just going to say we're gonna visit Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker this November.
Awesome.
So we're gonna watch Rush Hour. We're gonna talk about it. Just the first film, a film that we've enjoyed together a few times. It'll be good to talk about it.
First DVD I ever owned, Rush Hour.
Wow, there's gonna be a lot of history in this episode. So definitely donate $5 a month. Is someone banging on drums at your house?
I live in the city now, and there's somebody. He's put dumpsters are getting dumped in dump trucks. So it's just big city living. There's
perfect time to end the episode.
There's a lot of snow here, and there's a dump truck going by. So good times here.
All right. Well, the next episode we're gonna cover is That's My Mama.
Oh, it'll be good. This is a take on Martin Lawrence's Big Mama's House, correct or no?
I can only hope. And then there's going to be one called Blue Streak after that. So.
I love Blue Streak. We should do a Blue Streak episode. I love that movie.
I've watched that a million times.
I've seen Blue Streak a lot. It took me a long time to realize that it was Luke Wilson in Blue Streak. It's so weird. Anyways, listeners, thank you for listening. Jordan, thank you for joining me. And I guess I should say take care.
Take care, everybody.